Sup, guys? Mikey here with Jonathan, aka Yugi514, aka Pokecraft,
AK everything under the fucking
aka
sun.
Under the Sun. And welcome to our anime day, part 2. I know part 1 we had the last slash manga review for the new Naruto manga, and now we're doing the second video that I promised. We are doing Arc 5, the whole series up until now, and including today's episode. So, Jonathan, what do you got to say about this? Let's start with the new protagonist and the I don't know what to call a female.
The main female protagonist.
Yes, the main female protagonist. Well,
Yuzu.
what do we think about the first few episodes before the whole plot?
Uh to tell you the truth, it was like starting to look like Zexel 2.0 in terms of it really did in terms of the show. And at first I watched the first couple episodes
And
and eventually stopped watching it, and Mikey here eventually convinced me to go back and watch it. And I'm glad he did. It's turning out to be a pretty good show.
so let's talk about it. So we have this new protagonist, Yuya Sakaki, and he's part of this Yusho dual school with the teacher, his best friends, Hiragi Yuzu, Gongentaka, and the children there. I don't remember their names.
I don't think they gave out the names, but to tell the truth, like there's kind of side characters. So
They could be. I mean,
more like side characters that I guess they kind of try to flesh out the main characters more.
yeah. So we talk about this new person Yuya who kept the tradition, which Konami kept the tradition of the pendants, because we didn't have the pendant in 5Ds, and the pendant in GX didn't show up till season 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So we had the Millennium Puzzle, the demon prevention pendant thing. 5Ds we didn't have one. Zexel we had
They kind of did, if you want to count the
with
sign
what?
marks to an extent.
With what?
See if you want to count the sign marks to an extent.
Well, they're not a pendant really. They're a symbol.
No, I know, but I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Then we had the Zexel branded key, and now we have this pendulum. This pendulum.
It's a pendulum, pretty much.
So we talk about this guy. No astral body though. No astral body.
No, God's right hand man. Literally, that's what Ash sounds like in English.
So we have this main protagonist here, who his father was a pro duelist with this new system we call action duels. We'll get into that later. His father disappears from pro dueling, so everyone calls him the son of the runaway father, who has only the support of his mother and stuff. His best friend Gongensaka protects him, and his colleagues Yuzu and his teacher, Yuzu's father, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name. Who is also a pro duelist and best
Yeah.
friend of Yuya's father. So,
Yes.
which they both started school.
So
together.
instead of Yuya living with his grandmother and sister, he only lives with his mother.
Which I'm actually glad about that they're
Is a
in
mother?
the trend of giving them parents or an actual
The
role
trend
model.
the trend was showing slightly in GX when they announced his king status, Jaden's king status. Then with 5Ds, we don't know much about his mother, but we know about his father.
Well, his father was in a sense, was a bad
Then
guy,
they finally introduced two parents in Zexal.
which we didn't know about until
So now Yuya wants to improve his dueling to find his father through his father's way of doing called entertainment dueling.
which he starts off doing pretty weirdly, showing a bunch of fucking hippos. Which that was actually the first episode.
So yeah, action duels are basically dueling where the monsters are actually brought to life without any magical bullshit.
Just picture action duels in a sense is kind of what Konami did in 5Ds with those turbo duel where you have your speed spells, but in action duels you have the action spell cards,
Well,
which can
yeah, they brought that back. They brought back the action card, which does nothing compared to Speed World.
Well, I know, but they brought back
Yeah.
that aspect, which
And instead, yeah,
negatives.
ever since 5Ds, they started AR dueling. First
Mhm.
for Speed World, second was the D-Gazer, and now it's literally a field. which is
Yeah,
awesome.
giant field spell where you have a ton of terrain, tons
Yeah.
of action cards to help hinder your opponent, or they can actually hurt you as well.
And this time, this anime actually uses all three types of summonings,
Mhm.
which is actually pretty awesome.
Which I think is actually pretty cool. The fact that it is Arc V, it is the fifth
But
series, and why not incorporate it?
yeah, the one problem I have with it though is that all the main characters can only use the first basic form of something until they get progress, which is
Well,
kind of
it makes sense because it's how the game progressed. At first, all we can use is fusions until the synchros were eventually introduced, Exceed, etc., and now
Yeah.
Pendulum. So it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense how they did.
which the main character found out, right?
Main character.
He was in a duel. He was in a duel with that guy, and then all of a sudden, he finds this. He finds out.
Actually, no, it wasn't Mitchie. It was that fortune teller girl.
It's not Michio. No. It was before that. The first duelist. It was an exhibition match with some guy.
No, it was the fortune lady girl who he summoned his rune eyes.
No, I'm talking about like regular Pendulum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
it was against the top dog.
The top dog. They were dueling. When he thought he was about to lose, he thought like he gets through his duels by reminding himself of what his father tells him, like don't cry never cry. There's always a chance, stuff like that, like inspirational stuff.
And then all of a sudden, some of his cards transform into the Pendulum monsters
which brought about Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Odd Eyes Dragon.
And then his Gazer cards for normal
Stargazer, Entermates.
Yeah, but they had transformed to Pendulum monsters, so he was able to.
So up until like what, episode 30, they just do character build up.
Pretty much, it's kind of building up you as a character mainly to.
We learn about
improve as a duelist.
We learn about everyone's past. We meet Sora in like the third episode. Sora with his fuffles.
Sora, the creepy kid from down the lane.
and their inspirational little disciples, we will call. Did you notice how much each of them looks like the main character? Like the little red-haired girl,
except for the fat one.
Well, he could pass for Golden Gentuka if he loses weight. But
yeah,
basically,
they're just more like this. Like I said, they're side characters.
Yeah, basically the plot, the early plot is about him learning what's beyond Pendulum Summoning
and basically preparing for
doing against the top dog school, LDS, Leo Duel School, and their three top duelists plus the presidents, Akaba Reggie, who I suspiciously think is Kaiba's son.
It wouldn't surprise me. He doesn't have the attitude for it.
But then again, they didn't introduce his father already, so yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, but it.
So this guy Reggie pushes Yuya to find what's beyond Pendulum, and he fights duels to get into the Miami Championships. Yes, this place is
Miami. I know, right?
It's set in Miami, an actual city.
In planet Earth. My God, it's so weird. Next we're going to duel and
No, so. Yeah, so we're talking about him going beyond Pendulum Summoning, which is not really going beyond it when we talk about real world, but yeah.
They are very vague with it. It's not until as he's preparing
until he fights
championship that they can kind of get the gist of what they're talking about.
He needs either a 60% win or a personal invitation, which he declined. So he needed to win 5 duels in order to get a 60-40% win ratio. So he needed 5 duels, and he got those 5 victories.
And which the announcer, the typical announcer of any Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, Mr. Smiley.
Nico Smiley.
I'm surprised anybody had an last name Smiley. Jersey helped him by setting up duels because, he knew his father and he wanted to help out his son.
Yeah, so we talk about...
It's a pretty sweet thing.
Yeah, so we talk about his character build-up, everyone's character build-up. Yuya finding out how to Pendulum Fusion, which was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
He fuses with
He fuses his Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon with his
Magician, his Stargazer Dragon.
Time Gazer.
And he finds out Pendulum Fusion, which is weird.
Which he at first actually used the also famous card.
And continue.
Well, the first one was to use the natural polymerization card, but later on he his Pendulum Monsters.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the card itself, to actually fusion summon using a Pendulum Monster.
I believe it was the first time he used polymerization, and the
Yeah,
second time he used Trump Witch.
Trump Witch, that's the card.
And while he's getting these wins, the real plot is beginning to show itself with the other dimensions,
And
right?
before we get to the dimension, I have to make a note that his final win was probably the best duel he's had.
Pretty much, yeah.
And most hilarious one at that.
And during all this, we introduced Kurosaki Shun and Yuto.
Yuto is from the.
They're both from the Xyz dimension.
Yeah, they're both in the Xyz dimensions, looking for Rui. I think.
Rui, yeah, Yuto's sister. While
sister Yuri.
While the side plot, while the side plot is where Sora is teaching Yuzu how to fusion summon with her Fantasias. Jonathan?
Alright. Sorry, straight to that. Yeah, so basically, he's trying to teach her to fusion summon. Just because she had a big interest in it, and trying to improve her skills and how she can actually be a better duelist. And she wanted to and she saw how one of the LDS students had used the gem lights and fusion summoned and pretty much kicked our ass.
How weird is that? That we actually had duelists using real decks.
Exactly, I had real decks, gem lights, constellars.
That was amazing.
And the some of them had the constellar duelists had multiple of the same cards, multiple players.
This has never happened before.
Like that, and
it was really amazing.
Outside maybe 5Ds.
No, outside of polymerization at 3.
Well, it's a very rare occurrence, to see that.
Yeah.
They actually had actual strategy, which was actually pretty cool.
Actually, no, the first time and the only time ever from the beginning was the Cyber Harpies. No,
actually, Crow did have multiple. He had 2 boards.
Harpy Lady was the first, though.
Oh.
We had multiple Harpy Ladies.
Well, it was technically Harpy Lady's sisters, but okay.
But I'm talking about 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but it was actually to the card of Harpy Lady's sisters.
And then we came to Blackwings. Well, to a point, though. Blackwings Crow never used multiple cards.
I thought he used 2 Boros.
He never did.
The quote-unquote final season that we got in America.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the main plot is about the fusion dimensions.
Who are basically trying but this is what they're saying, they're trying to merge all 4 dimensions into one, and even willing to go to war and fight other dimensions in order to do so.
Yeah.
And the way they do this is they basically have to defeat you in a duel. They see you open to a card. Sound familiar?
No, I don't.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
It's that sounds familiar, but they tap in a card which sounds extremely familiar, and basically use your soul to an extent to help power some evil-looking thing that we don't know what it does yet.
And let's go on to the 4 protagonists of this series.
Yes, we are now in the realm of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Where we talk about the Miami Championship and Yuya having all this stuff. Jonathan, you wanna talk about this? I think this is your expertise.
The Miami championships now. Wait, we're going to the 4. We're going to the protagonists or the championships?
Yeah, pretty much. We have the 4 protagonists of the story during the Miami Championships.
Okay, well, the 4 main protagonists you have, of course, you have Yuto, Yuga, and I think his name's Yuga.
Yuto, Yuya, and Yuri.
I can't remember the fusion's guy's name.
Yuri.
Yeah, Yuri. Now, all 4 of these look exactly the same outside of their hairstyle, different color, and basically.
Let's go in order of their appearance. First and foremost was Yuto and Kurosaki.
Oh yeah, Yuto. He basically, he had basically Xyz dimension look to an extent. He was wearing black. Yeah. He looked almost like he was
and then
a goth.
Yeah, and then we started to learn about what was his name? The little boy? Yuya's Sora. We started learning about Sora's...
I started learning about how Sora...
The first match of the Miami Championship was Sora versus Kurosaki.
Mm-hmm. And Sora went all pretty much freaky mode.
And we started learning about multiple dimensions, the rough idea.
How he wanted to basically take out one of the remnants of the Exceed
Yeah.
dimension, and he really went freaky mode uh, with his all kinds of strengths. But after that initial duel, Sora was
So
defeated and
yeah,
ended up in a hospital due to everything that happened, and he eventually wanted to rematch Kurosaki. No,
yeah,
he wanted to rematch Kurosaki, but ended up dueling Yuto.
yeah. They started learning about and we start learning about like what Sora's real goal is. We start learning,
Hmm.
and then we see the
And
duel. We see the duel between Yuto Sora and
Yuya,
Yuya.
which eventually did step in, but during as the duel progressed, Sora was eventually teleported back to the fusion dimension before he could reveal too much information about
And
the
then
plan.
and then Yugo shows up and has
Has
a duel.
has a not only a turbo duel, but he has a
It was
duel,
a writing duelist versus
a
a
running duelist.
exactly.
So Yugo and Yuto have their little duel, and basically
The minute we see their initial
they
their
both
signature dragons, we'll say.
Yuto's Dark Rebellion XE Dragon and Yugo's Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Once they both hit the field, they both kind of in a sense get possessed by them
We
to an
don't
extent.
not possess, more like their dragons control them in a sense.
Pretty much, and they kind of go super all out, and then Yugo eventually wins,
Well,
and
Yuto could have won, but he was going to win, but then Yuya
he
interfered.
snapped them out of it, pretty much.
Yeah,
Which was good because, Yuto
that helps the
really
plot. That helps the
well, it helps the
plot.
plot, but Yuto doesn't want to duel like that. He wants to make
Yeah.
people smile, which he does tell Yuya.
So
But after
before
Yuto loses, he basically, in a sense, dies, and his soul it goes inside Yuya, so he can now use
yes,
the
yes.
balance.
For all of you out there questioning what happened to Yuta, no. He was not sent to the Shadow Realm. This does not exist anymore. It's just hell now.
He literally died, which is kind of weird because
Instead of him dying, his soul was actually merged with Yuya's. Or
yeah,
not,
but that's kind of but in a sense he did technically die from a children's card game.
Yugo disappears as soon as Yuzu shows up, and Yuya knocks out for what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
He learns why, and he doesn't even know why he has Dark Robotic Sea Dragon. He only knows.
I have no memory of
Yeah.
why he got it. Not, no, actually, no. He remembers how he got it because
He just doesn't know what Yuto meant until he dueled that underhanded duelist.
ninja guy, which that's actually when you went full blown evil mode. Now,
Yeah, we have an
of
evil
all
protagonist.
now of all the of all the protagonists of Yu-Gi-Oh in general, Yu-Gi-Oh was the fastest to go full blown evil.
And if we're not counting the manga, Yusei was the only one not having an evil side.
That is the truth. But Yu-Gi-Oh was the first one to go
That's very fast, very
fast, and that's because
And then we learned
his rage took over.
not his rage, but he had a glimpse of the Exceed dimension. He had a glimpse of Yuto's memories.
But that triggered something else. It wasn't really Yuto. It was something else that triggered it.
Not really. It was the fact. It was Dark Rebellion. Dark Rebellion triggered it.
Which it goes a little bit more in depth than that as the show progresses.
Yeah, it goes really in depth. But then he learns about the Pendulum Exceeds, where he summons.
Where he went and he exceeded his
Odd Eyes.
His Odd Eyes with Dark Rebellion. Yes, he broke the rules and exceeded with an Exceed monster. and created.
No, he fusioned. He fusioned with an Exceed monster. You're going way too far.
But
he created Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon.
Yeah, that's the Exceed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then the fusion was what was?
But his fusion was Beast Eyes, and his fusion was Rune Eyes.
I'm talking about the fusion with Dark Rebellion. Oh wait, never mind.
No, that's Exceed. Remember, he uses pendulums to make Rebellion.
Yeah, but he fused. Yeah, but he fused it with Odd Eyes.
No, he exceeds them with it.
No,
he used his 2 new magician pendulums to first turn the Rebellion into a level 4 monster.
I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the first time he went evil.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, he just made Dark Rebellion. That's all he made.
Yeah, Dark Rebellion Exceed Dragon.
Yeah, he exceeded into that.
And then later on in the Miami Championship, when everyone moves on to the semifinals or something like that.
Yeah, where they're all like scattered across the entire Miami City.
You
Which
get,
I've got to admit, that is a pretty damn awesome
yeah,
semifinals.
yeah. Kurosaki. Then we're introduced with Selena, which was pretty interesting.
I thought that was a pretty interesting little backstory. The fact that Kurosaki actually knew Selena.
And Akaba Reggie and the whole good stuff with that. At that point, we're starting to learn more about the plot, about the 4 dimensions.
And we started to see more about the fusion dimension.
So let's talk about the 4 dimensions. We have the the synchro dimension, the fusion dimension, the exceed, and the standard.
Now, in each of these dimensions, fusions, synchros, and exceeds,
In
they
the
only
fusion,
can use that one type of summon condition. None of them can really fusion and each other. But the standard, they can do all. Everything.
Yeah. While the fusion dimension has academia, the exceeds dimension has Heartland City, and the synchro dimension has the city. The city.
That's all it's called, a city.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like they just call it
Download City? No, they do call it Neo Download City, but that's just too long.
I know, they just call it the city, which, okay, yeah. Whatever.
So we find out that Sora is actually the enemy. We find out about how the fusion dimension destroys the exceeds dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point we just go into like the entire Miami City battle royale.
Yep. And unlike the action cards, which are typically in the action duels, you have a diverse amount of pendulum monsters that you have to go after.
Yeah.
And have to collect enough of them in order to advance, which basically is sort of how, the second season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was.
So let's talk about Serena before we go into that. Serena is another person that looks like Yuzu and Yuto's sister Ruri. She escapes academia because she wants to prove herself to the professor.
That she is good enough to be put on the front lines.
Where we find out that the professor is actually Akaba Reggie's father.
Which is kind of weird, but okay, we're a flesh spoke Konami.
Yeah, so now Serena is under the careful watch of Reggie, and she's now part of the Miami Battle Royal, where she meets Yuzu, and Kurosaki Shun has a rematch with Sora. And the entire Academia Force, what was it called?
Obelisk Force.
The Obelisk Force.
They're the Obelisk Force in these ancient gear monsters. Yeah, Professor Crowler was really pissed off.
Professor Crowler? You mean like Professor Crowler's great-grandfather?
Pretty much. It sounds good. And also, if you haven't noticed, on their masks, they have red, yellow, and blue on them.
Yeah.
Which is like for red.
We learn about Academia's way of sealing their souls in cards.
Pretty much. They just use their dual discs.
Unlike Arc 5, unlike Zexal and 5Ds, we're going back to the original, like Yu-Gi-Oh, where they could seal them using dual discs, mind you.
Yes, because they are apparently in league with Maximilian Pegasus.
No. Here's what happened. Let's go off track and let's speculate this. They found the Millennium items. They found the powers within them, but they can't use them. So they transfer the powers into dual discs.
Well, since it is the fusion dimension is based off of GX.
Yeah, then it would make sense that way. But let's speculation's too much.
Of course.
So we learned
anyway. So Yuya sees this happening to some of the duelists from the night school. And he actually goes full blown evil mode again.
He goes berserk.
Floating hair.
He duels all 3 of them at once, and then
he creates the.
He busts. No. Before that, he busts out 2 new magicians: Destruction Magician and Creation Magician.
Yes.
And this is where finally we learn of the new ability to turn an Exceeds monster into
an actual monster, which is pretty
with a level. And then
he summons probably one of the baddest monsters I've seen.
Odd Eyes
Rebellion Dragon, I believe it's called.
And it has a killer effect, which we're not going to go into details. If you play the game, you'll understand, but this is about the anime.
Uh-huh.
And up until the certain point, the point that this goes up, which is today.
So, Okay, well,
Well,
anyway,
which is Friday, yeah.
so he goes and defeats 3 obelisk forces because, well, he's a super evil Yuya now, so he can do the impossible.
So
And
after
he goes and
this,
he starts heading towards where Sora and Kurosaki are actually dueling.
and
But
he gets stopped by Gogensaka, and
because a pillar is actually about to fall on Yuya as he's walking, and he doesn't give two shits because
we actually forgot to mention the lovesick crazy Rebecca 2.0.
yeah, but I was gonna actually get to her eventually.
Well, we talk about this girl. What was her name?
I don't remember her fucking name.
Basically, she's from this psychic school, and she calls him
she thinks that Yuya is her future husband. Keeps calling him
darling. Have old Rebecca 2.0.
But anyway,
so they calm him down. He's knocked out.
And she actually looks into his mind and sees the fact that he has 2 souls in him, Yuya and Yujo's souls. But
and even deeper, yeah.
That which is really the big source of.
Let's speculate this. What do you think that is? Let's both take a crack at it. One guess, and let's see what it is. Let's guess at this.
But it's pure darkness. It could definitely be darkness in his heart, like everybody has. But I'm gonna say it is the song of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh.
You just had to go there.
I had to.
I personally think it's all of the hatred and resentment he felt for being called the father of the runaway champion.
Probably,
I think he bottled it up all this time, and it's just all that hatred being released at once.
And seeing all this stuff happening, basically releases that anger, and that's
through the power of Yuto's soul as well.
Pretty much, but that's what makes him go super evil mode, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And this kind of hints at the fact that we're gonna see 2 more souls get etched into his body. He's gonna be one Yuya. It's gonna be like the movie The One with Jet Li, except a lot less complicated.
Yeah.
If you've seen The One by Jet Li, the movie is actually called The One, you'll understand what we're talking about. If not, good luck understanding multiverse theory.
Well, so anyway, we do transition back to Yuzu and Selena have met up. They have met up. And
they've met Yugo, they've met Kurosaki, Kurosaki kind of hates Yuya for not understanding why he has Yuto's card and all that stuff.
Well, they never really had a chance to talk it out. So.
Yeah. In the meantime, while all this is happening with Yuya, Yuzu meets Selena, and then Selena tries to understand what really happens in the future dimension. She thinks it's all
she
for the.
She thinks that they are doing a noble cause, and that's usually tries to explain that. Literally they're evil, and that they laugh at people's despair.
And this is where we learn about the actual purpose of academia and how they're trying to use the actual purpose from what we learned from Serena, is that academia is trying to merge all 4 dimensions into one.
But Selena doesn't realize that what they are doing, that they enjoy the suffering of others. So Yuzu and Selena decide to switch clothes. And no, they don't show anything, you sick perverts.
Listen, they're like less than 2. They're like 13 years old. Come on.
Sailor Moon.
Okay. And
Anyway, they change clothes, and Selena heads over to where Kurosaki.
The ancient ruins, they split up into 5 different parts. If you think of, I'm gonna make a quick reference. They kind of split it out like the Yu-Gi-Oh card Convulsion of Nature. So go look up that card and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
But she basically goes over to Kurosaki and Sora dueling, and she basically sees Sora
she actually goes to them as soon as Kurosaki loses.
Pretty much. But she sees Sora enjoying his suffering.
Pretty much,
suffering. Yeah. And she realizes that she's really been fighting on the wrong side.
Until they get into that super battle, until they get into that huge battle royale. Between
how many people are going to jump in there?
Let's see, Gogensaka, Kurosaki, Selena, the Ninja Brothers, Michio, which is one of Yuya's friends who uses a cooking style type of dueling, and a whole bunch of other people.
And two of them actually end up losing, and then two lose, and like two more come in to replace them. It's like
If I'm correct, doesn't Yugo come out of nowhere, or is
Yuga does come out of
to save Serena, right?
to save Selena.
Yeah.
Actually saves Yuzu.
Oh, okay, yeah, Yuzu.
Yeah, because Yuzu actually is the one that ice part of.
Yeah, because Yuzu switched clothes. Because Yuzu switched clothes, the Apple's Force thinks that that's Selena.
And she ends up coming across Yuri.
Yeah.
Who, of course, is the future dimension version of Yuya and is evil. She ends up dueling him, and we get a glimpse of his dragon.
A glimpse. It was like
full picture, but
they showed a phantasmal
silhouette, pretty much of it. But her little pendant, her little bracelet, ends up glowing, and he gets her back to Academia. And the moment Yugo shows up, mistaking her for Rin, who is his childhood friend. And
if I'm correct, during all this, before all this, actually, Yuya has his final duel with Sora.
Figure out
he's trying to bring back Sora's smile, the one when they first dueled, when Sora said that they were just playing around.
Yep. But the duel didn't really go into a final because of the fact that he had to escape due to the fact that everybody who in the entire freaking thing decided to show up right then and there. So he teleported out. He basically chickened out. And
if you guys are all confused at what we just said, basically to wrap it up to right now, and to wrap it up to right now before the current episode, basically. Yuya is distressed that he thinks that Yuzu has been captured when Yuzu is really with Yugo, the third Yuya, we will say. And Rin and Yugo's best friend Rin, has been captured along with Yuto's sister Ruri, while Yuto has been destroyed, and his soul is now in Yuya's. And basically Serena, Yuya's rival, what was his name? I can't remember his name. Saratari, Gogensaka. Yeah. Basically, 7 of them now form the Lancers.
The Lancers. And we later found out that Kurosaki decides to bring his 12-year-old brother in as well.
No, not Kurosaki.
No, I said that's a Kurosaki?
Reggie.
I could have sworn I said Reggie. Oh well.
and we find out the real name of LDS, Lancers Defense Squad, Soldiers or something like that. Which
no, that's not the true name. They changed it to that.
Yeah,
it was something else. But
at this point, Yuya's distressed, and he's going to go save Yuzu, who he thinks is in the Academia.
But you kind of skipped one thing: the fact that Yuya and Reggie did duel again before that whole distress.
They did have their serious duel, but Yuya unfortunately ends up losing.
Yeah, but Reggie was interested in seeing the different things that Yuya was bringing out, and he basically copied everything Yuya did. It's like, hey, you can fusion, you can pendulum fusion. I can do this better. I could do your Xyz pendulum better.
And at this point, they created the Lancers Defense Squad with Serena, Yuya, Sawatari, Gogenzaka, Akaba Reggie's little sister. Did I say Kurosaki?
Little sister, what?
Little brother.
What to say?
You never know.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, that's true.
All the traps, remember? Japan loves the gender traps.
Yeah, look at Soul Eater.
So basically, he has his squad of 9 people ready to get allies and take down Academia, take down Reggie's father, and all this awesome stuff. While Yugo is with Yuzu.
Now, Yuya is, of course, like Mikey said, is distressed, and his mom.
His mom
actually pretty much a badass.
Yoko.
Huh?
Her name is Yoko, and we're not talking about the Yoko from Gurren Lagann. We're talking about Yoko from Arc 5.
But she tries to basically show him what the true meaning of dueling.
His father's type of dueling.
Because He does because Yuya always does a lot better when he is smiling and having fun with
Yeah.
dueling and basically doing entertainment dueling.
And he obtains his father's card through this duel, which we will not.
Smile World!
I didn't think we would spoil that, but okay.
It's a review. Spoilers are gonna happen. Sorry.
Of course.
Oh god.
So at this point, like everything is settled, they have their goals, and Serena is actually going to take down who we now call the Professor, which is the leader of Academia, aka Duel Academy.
Because she basically now sees their evil ways, so that's cool.
So, which brings us up, which finishes the recap of episodes 1 through, what, 50?
No, I think it's like, is it 50?
I don't know. I really don't like. We're up to 50. We're up to 50, I think.
I can look that up real fast.
Well, he's doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty much like 1 through 50. Yeah.
And now we're up to the current episode, which explains Yugo's past, which explains Yuzu's real feelings. Hint, hint. Yeah. And we're finally in Neo Domino City with Jack Atlas and Crow.
Yeah, they introduced Jack Atlas and Crow. So this kind of makes me wonder. Okay, they brought back Jack and Crow in the synchro dimension. Does that mean we're gonna see like maybe Jade or somebody in Academia in like the fusion dimension? You know.
Well, well we could speculate this. First of all, Jaden, like if we keep up with the Japanese version of the anime, he did somehow end up dueling Yugi at the end of it and ending up in nowhere. So we don't know where he was at.
Oh, I know, but I'm just using James as an example here. But some people from
like we see, like
chess.
Like we see Jack Atlas because he was the king at the end of 5Ds, and we see Crow because he was an inspiration to little kids.
And he's also a fan favorite.
Like Zexel, we kind of saw like the destruction of the city. It was kind of like what really happened with Zeroverse. It was something like that in Zexel. It's like Zeroverse happened in Zexel. They actually followed like the storyline plot of 5Ds, and they brought it into Heartland City. That's what happened there.
But it just kind of makes you wonder like what they're gonna do with that. But anyway.
Yeah. So we're back. So the current episode brings us to Yugo. We learn about his childhood friend Rain. We learn that the satellite is still around. We just have a different.
It's not called the satellite. It's called the slums, and they're called the commoners, where
the
people who live where Jack lives are the tops.
Yeah.
Very, very.
You would think Jack Atlas would be part of tops, but he's not.
No, they kept the aspect from Fight East where Jack was in the satellite, but did work his way up to become the king of the duelists.
Well, he didn't have to work really hard, considering he did save Neo Domino City, but I don't think they'll bring up his past in this new series. They don't.
Because they may not. Because who knows? They may not keep that
past of him in the series. But they don't have a reason to keep it.
I know, but I'm just saying. But they did kept that aspect where he was in the slums, he was in satellite, but he.
I honestly thought they give them new clothing and a new look.
No, why would they give him new clothing?
Well, it is an entirely different era. I mean,
yeah.
Think about it. Like Konami never tells us how much of a time skip there is between each series. They never tell us.
Yeah, but here's the thing: could you really picture Jack in any other outfit?
Yes, he did wear other outfits.
I know, but I'm talking about dueling wise, like.
He could have.
Jack Atlas. He
could have worn something better. Who knows? Like Yusei always went through clothes. Freaking. What was his name? Yuma always went through different clothes.
I'm just saying, but I think it fits Jack more in that outfit.
Yeah, it does, but still. So.
Like Hale Crow is wearing the same outfit.
So it looks like Yugo's past was a very. He was a lot like Yusei.
He grew up in the slums, oppressed by the
higher up. If we're talking about Yusei, yeah. If we don't consider like Zeroverse, yeah, he kind of grew up like Yusei, but except he never had a backstabbing friend. He had Rin, his best friend, and
helped him. Basically Rin,
his girlfriend. Put it that way.
Which sort of what happened in Fight East where Jack and Yusei built the G-Wheel,
yeah.
But their goal was to pretty much have one of them duel Jack in the Friendship Cup.
And we also introduced the satellite. I mean, not the satellite, the security, and the new speed spell, the new speed world Neo.
Like Speed World Neo. So
I'm kind of wondering what they're gonna do with the effect of that.
Now, one thing I do like about the newest episode with Yugo and Yuzu riding together on the Dual Runner is just a nice throwback to 5Ds where you had Akiza riding on with Yusei because her hair is flying out of the helmet. It's a really nice little throwback. Really is.
Yeah, it was a nice throwback. So yeah, this is pretty much what's happening at this point. And before all this, actually, the Lancer is actually transported to the
Synchro dimension, but they're not there yet. They're still taking place while there's could be before they transport or during their transportation.
All we know is we're gonna see them in the next, like, the episode after next week.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, this, like, the plot took time to build up, but it was good. It was good. So
it's becoming a good series. It really.
I mean, if we consider all the previous animes, Zexal took some time to build up. We started, like, the first few episodes, we started learning about the number hunters, the number collection. Arc 5, we immediately knew about, like, we started with a mini plot, going into the big one with Jack Atlas, and then going into the Signers and the Crimson Dragon.
Uh-huh. And then the original Yu-Gi-Oh show was just around.
Actually, it took the first season to learn, for them to realize, hey, we need to help out this previous king find out his name. So we need the Millennium Items. But GX, I think, it had a mixed match of plots. Like, they didn't have a steady plot going.
Well, they eventually sort of did as it got closer to.
It was like Parasite. It had a character build up until the very end.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the final thoughts on up till this point?
It's been doing good. To keep going down this road and keep improving upon it, it's definitely going to be a very, very good series. Definitely up there. Not as like 5Ds will still be better in terms of.
Of course.
In terms of its plot and the dark tone of it, more suited for the more adult audience, the older audience.
Yeah, I think the same thing, but.
It's going to definitely be.
But the thing is, ever since 5Ds, Konami has been going easy. They've been going like PG-13 status.
And this sort of, it's still around PG-13, but the fact that, you have people being sued in cards again, you have pretty much, in a sense, people dying to a card game again.
Well, they don't really show it as dying, they just show it as.
I know, but, they're still, in a sense, their souls are being, hey, look, I'm going to trap you into a car.
Well, that's been like a keystone since the first series, and children have been okay with it for whatever reason. They don't really know what's going on, so it's understandable. But they started going in depth with it since Zexal.
But I feel like as they get closer and closer, especially as they get closer and closer to the fusion dimension, whenever they start getting closer to when they go there, I think it's going to get a little bit more of a darker tone to it, kind of how 5D.
Yeah, it's getting there, but not quite there yet.
It's still a little happy and carefree, but you can see it slowly getting there too. Okay,
yeah,
dark and intense, and and all that stuff.
So this has been our anime review for Arc 5. Sorry if it's a bit too long, but if you stick with it to the end, I'm sure you'll be satisfied.
And plus, you can always just leave it open and just go do something else while we're talking.
Pretty much, yeah. Also, make sure to catch us when we learn about the plot summary for the 10th, not the 10th anniversary, the 15th anniversary movie, and when we talk about the next episode and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mikey. This is Jonathan, one of the members of Council Network, and we will see you next week.
Bid you adieu.